Hey everybody, welcome to The Art of Comics. I'm your host, Andres Salazar. AndresSalazarArt.com. Go there, my website. It has my comics, my illustration, my sketches, my paintings, all that stuff is there at AndresSalazarArt.com. You can also be a member. We're doing memberships now. What? Memberships? That's right. We're doing memberships here at The Art of Comics. What that gives you is some private, members-only videos, some one-on-one time questions, topics that you want me to specifically work at. Maybe you want me to look at your comics. Maybe we do some like lessons about, inking or illustrating or things like that. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it, man. So check that out. Check out that. Think about the membership and my website. Very important to support the channel. And now we're going to do part 2, which is 1981. So we did last time 1980, now we're doing 81, and we're just going to keep going through the whole freaking series. And there's so many good things happening. I'm very excited to talk to you about it. So why don't we turn the camera over and let's do this. Let's do it.
Are you ready?
Okay, everybody, let's do this. 1981. Ronald Reagan is now sworn as president. Iran-Contra, the crisis is, the hostages have been released. Things are going well, kinda. We're gonna have a boom at some point in theory. And the dazzling direct market. So one of the great things about the direct market is you don't need the code anymore. I think, oh no, they do have the code. Sorry. They do have the code. But you'll notice it's a little bit different. This was a exclusive direct market, which ticked off the newsstands. Think about it. Now newsstands have to compete, which they didn't really give comics that much of a freaking care anyway, but they weren't happy that suddenly Marvel is publishing things specific to comic book shops. This Dazzler issue 1 got almost 500,000 pre-orders. So it was a big success. Yeah, 428 pre-orders. It was huge success, tremendous. It was super cool. I think these comic store owners felt, hey, we alone are getting this comic book. We're not competing with the newsstand. People have to come to my shop to get this book. Yeah, well, the newsstand might not have thought that. They were probably ticked. Maybe they didn't care. I love the timeline. Again, we talked about, this was such a good show. The Greatest American Hero. I loved the show as a kid. I loved it because I love comics and heroes. Such a great show. IBM introduces the personal computer. Yeah, John Hinckley shoots Ronald Reagan. Man, I didn't know that he got the assassination attempt was just a couple months after he was sworn in. Did not know that. Superman 2 comes out. Grosses $24 million in the first week. That's big bucks. High Society, Cerebus 26. You know what? I could not. Well, you saw the video, right? I did a video of Cerebus, and I got High Society, and I could not finish it. It was just, I struggled. I appreciated the art, but I just struggled with that freaking book. I have it still. I should probably just give it away. If you become a member, maybe that would be a fun thing to do. Members can get access to some sort of little, what do you call it? Like a giveaway. I like that. Okay, sorry. I like this idea of Dazzler was going to be this Jamaican singer like Grace Jones. Look, that sounds cool. Yeah, that would have been fun. Now, that's how it would be done because that's how it rolls. This is who we talking about. Let's just read a little bit. Series. We got screwed 6 ways. We got screwed 6 ways a Sunday on Star Trek. We wanted from Paramount all of Star Trek, the motion picture, the 60s television series, everything. But all we got was the movie. Once we already committed to all these publishing plans, we were told we couldn't do what we wanted, the television series. we got the Lane movie first. Not only did people not want to buy anything associated with just the Star Trek movie, my creators didn't want to work on the comic book series. I couldn't get anybody to pay attention to the dang thing. So, what was a disaster? So that was a disaster, but it was a disaster that we foisted upon ourselves. If we had gotten what we thought we were originally going to get, I think that would have worked out fine. It wouldn't have been Star Wars, but I think it would have been a success. Yeah, here's the thing. These guys, I mean, if DC, or not DC, if Marvel would have gotten Star Trek, the show, the TV show, not the freaking movie, but the TV show, oh my gosh, dude. You could have been doing freaking Kirk stories in a series. That would have been amazing. I do not know why those properties, Star Trek specifically, which wouldn't have been, it's an episodic TV show, that would have been perfect for comics. I do not know why, even still today, moving this property to IDW, to Titan, all these different places, I don't get it. It should be amazing. I mean, come on. Okay. That's enough of that. Moon Knight, Khazar, Micronauts. Freaking excited to see these new titles that were only available at comic stores. So, put that in your newsstand and smoke it. Cartoons are big. We've got the animated series. The Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was massive. I freaking watched it every Saturday morning. We're getting now it's really starting to hit these things in the 80s, early 80s. Now we have the adaptation of Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. These are panels from in Marvel. Then we talk about Miller. Miller now he's 23, by the way. Oh my gosh, just thinking about how young he was. He was 23 years old, just a freaking kid, drawing amazing stuff, really, really good. And at this point, he becomes the guy. It was only second best to X-Men. And he's a one-man show. He becomes a one-man show. He becomes the writer and the artist. He's just good. He said, yes, Shooter says, Frank Miller is good, real good, too good. And it became just massive, like no other comic. And he was able to just do the things he wanted. He had full reign. Of course, he had Klaus Janson worked with him and other people, but it was him. It was his story. It was his kind of like world. It was separated from everything else, really. I mean, he didn't really fiddle with too many of the other Marvel characters. Of course, there was Punisher and things like that, but he didn't go off against Doctor Doom and Red Skull so much. It was his own little street level stuff in Hell's Kitchen. He also toned down. He just kind of minimized the words and everything. Influenced, perhaps, I don't know if he was influenced by manga at this point. Later on, of course, he does, but he just simplifies things and makes it emotional, impactful. So these are some great panels. It's just great stuff. Let's just read this here from another Shooter quote. No, this is actually Stern. Oh, talking about the Captain America. Shooter woke up one morning and decided that Marvel should only do one-part stories. And the thing about Shooter in those days was all his ideas were retroactive. He would come in on a Monday morning and say, "Why aren't you doing this? I just had this idea. Why isn't it already in place?" So Roger and I had already started part one of a 3-part Captain America and Red Skull story. And the editor calls him up and says, "This has to be 1-part story." And then Roger's calling me saying, "Hey, this has got to be a 1-part story." It's a 3-part story. We plotted it. All of a sudden, Shooter wants nothing but 1-part stories. And that's when Roger quit. So we're going back to that Captain America thing. And I understand the idea of 1-part stories. You pick it up, you read it, and you're done. There's something very beautiful, very nice about episodic 24-page stories. But I get it also as a creator that if you really want to sink your teeth into this story and arc and villain and plot, that you really do need more space. So I get it. I understand both sides. It's unfortunate that they couldn't come to an agreement. Sounds like shooter for some were hard. Now, Gene Colan, who I love Gene Colan, on the other hand, decided to quit Marvel. So Gene Colan says, I'm out. I don't want to work with you, Shooter. I'm gone. And I think he goes to DC. And Colan is one of the best. He signed a 3-year exclusive contract with DC. He started drawing Batman. Yeah, Shooter is... Colan is... If you don't know Gene Colan, go look him up. He's great. There's the new DC. We're kind of like revamping DC at this time as well. Remember, Marvel is still outselling DC, so they're always trying to like find ways to beat them, and they do wind up beating them with a couple things like Teen Titans and such. But Adele H for Heroes, never really cared for it. Superman, Wonder Man, Legion of Superheroes, Sergeant Rock, Green Lantern, Warlord, GI Combat, Ghost. I don't know Ghost at all. Batman Action. A couple Batman. So that's... I don't know why these two logos are different. Talks about Paul Levitz. Oh, Madame Xanadu. This was a DC exclusive story, and it was, I believe, an old story that Steve Englehart did. And they brought out this old story that he worked on to do this. And so that was going on. Roy Thomas. Yeah, I never read Darrell H for Heroes. I need to get some of those and check that out. All-Star Squadron lasted nearly 6 years, spawning 2 spin-offs, Infinity Incorporated and Young All-Stars. I never read Young All-Stars. I didn't even know about that book. Arak, Son of Thunder. Yes. Yeah, Roy Thompson. By the way, Roy Thomas is like, he's considered, high-level comic writer and such. He created this character who I think was supposed to be similar to, what's his face? The barbarian, like Conan type. It was like basically a Conan kind of a deal, but he Native Americaned him and kind of changed him up a little bit. And then it was Blood Wolf at some point. I think the name was Blood Wolf. Now, they're also like changing the technology from, listen to this, 65 DPI to 120 DPI. Nowadays, everything's 300 or more. Chaikin does it at 600. Listen to this. We had been approached for years by offset printers, but nobody had an economically viable pricing model because for the newsstand side of the business. If we were going to take the kind of returns we did, we couldn't afford to invest more in the physical product. We were paying for 3 copies for every 1 we sold. So in essence, if we were to invest in the physical product, we were tripling the damage. Wow. Because they had returns. Because for the newsstands, whatever you didn't sell that month, you could return them and get some of that money back. So you get a hit if your stuff's not selling well. And this is when we have royalties. That's right. 1981 was when royalties happened, and this changed the landscape forever. Listen to what Paul Levitz says. If we accepted the logic that we were going into a world where more and more of our customers were buying based on who was doing the work and how well the work was done, then we wanted to create an environment that, first of all, aligned the creative people's interests with the companies. If we succeed, you succeed. And then secondly, motivated them to take more time and trouble with their work. And then we did hope that we would have the opportunity to pull some talent from Marvel if they made the jump first. So DC says, look, we're going to give you guys royalties because people are following the creators, not the the characters, and that is new. This is a new thing, right? So people follow Miller. If Miller started doing Batman, they'll follow him in Batman. If Alan Moore started doing Swamp Thing, well, they're going to follow him doing Swamp Thing. So it's about giving those guys who are bringing in the money a piece of it. And this was new. This was really cool. And so, of course, now you have Marvel and DC are now kind of going back at each other, and now they're kind of like swapping, and of course the creators are loving it, because the creators basically get to just take what the best deal is, right, in the best working environment, and they dig at each other. Our distinguished competition is what Stan Lee used to always say, and they used to kind of like bust on each other. I loved the books when they worked together, and some of these Batman and Hulk books, there was a couple of these little small ones that were really cool. There's a number of them. Are there? Yeah. This one, I've read this one, and I haven't read that one, but that one I've read, and then this one, really cool. I always loved that, dude, when they combined those together. Now we get some smaller publishers now are coming into the game. Noble Comics, do not know them at all, but now Capital Comics is Steve Rude and Mike Baron for Nexus. So again, never read Nexus. Love that picture. I do need to get some Nexus and go check this out. I do like some of the illustrations I've seen of it. And we also have Kirby. Jack Kirby comes back. He's kind of like working on his stuff, and he's Kirby was disgusted by the rosy optimism of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Kirby was a student of history and of nature, and has reckoned that the only reason an alien race would come the vast reaches of space to visit us was to conquer and subjugate the Earth, not to take a few of the inhabitants on an interstellar joyride. In fact, at the end of the original 48-page graphic novel, Jack promised a sequel to be entitled Encounters of the Savage Kind. Oh, this is talking about doing the film adaptation for Encounters of the Third Kind. And clearly he wanted more of a hardcore thing. Also, we have a shout out to morning cartoon Thunder the Barbarian. I freaking loved Thunder the Barbarian. Loved it. And I didn't know that Kirby worked on it. I know that Alex Toth did. But Alex Toth and I guess Kirby did a little bit of that. Didn't know it. Captain Victory and the Galactic Rangers. That actually looks pretty good. I like that. Well done. Oh, Wally Wood. I love Wallace Wood. He never went by Wally, by the way. I found out he never went by Wally. Why people call him Wally, I have no idea. He never did that. But Wallace Wood died, I think, at like 52, very young. Alcoholism. He had some demons, man. Well, Wallace Wood was so good. And he died poor. Yeah, he wasn't faring well professionally. In 1981, Wood no longer worked on assignments for DC or Marvel, or even one of the new publishers that served the direct mark. Instead, Wood was reduced to drawing pornography for Nuance Publishing. I do want to get Sally Forth. I have Canon. I want to get Sally Forth. It's just sad. It's just sad. He was a great, great illustrator. But, shit happens. And this is what goes down. Oh, that's it. Well, we ended on kind of a freaking bummer. So there you go. A little bit of a bummer on Wally Wood's passing. Go check out some Wally Wood. He's brilliant. Okay, that's it for me today. We'll do more episodes. We're going to keep going. Next is 82. And we're just going to bang out this whole thing. So thanks for watching. Check out my website. It's cool. AndreSalzarArt.com. Thanks. Bye.